communication. Next slide, please. So Pawan has muted everyone. Only the hosts and co-hosts can unmute themselves. Those who wants to put in the questions and comments, use the chat box, please. Let me welcome Professor Dr. Tufan Pati sir from Qatar. And sir, please keep our introductions. I'm handing over to you.
Thank you, Alim. A very good evening to everybody. We have a film show now, a cinema time. Just remember the college days, evening time, film time, class miss, film time, matinee time, der raat ko film time. Now it is film time, director Gulbahar Sidhu. So we have got two brilliant moderators, the dynamic young members of Indian Psychiatric Society, Dr. Amrit Patujoshi from Bhubaneswar and Dr. Dim Siddiqui from Lucknow. Welcome, you both of you. And the CV is displayed, and we don't want to spend time on this. We'll go directly to introduce the chairperson. Next slide, please, Pavan. Dr. Indla Ramashubha Reddy is our chairperson, my dear friend, old friend Indla. He graduated from Kurnool Medical College and post-graduation from and DPM from NIMANS. He is a consultant psychiatrist for the last 36 years and director of Vijayawada Institute of Mental Neurosciences, VMANS, another VMANS in Vijayawada. Served as president of IPS and president of SARC Psychiatric Federation. He served as the chairman of International Affairs Committee, Community Psychiatry Specialty Section and Awards Committee of IPS. He has published many articles in national and international journals and also edited a book, Career Planning for Young Psychiatrists. He has organized many psychiatric conferences at Vijayawada. He has been a guest speaker at many national and international conferences. He has been an examiner for MD Psychiatry and DNB Psychiatry. He wrote 9 books in Telugu and mental health problems and has been a Senate member in the Acharya Nagarjuna University. He has received a number of awards: AP State Government Ugadi Vasista Puraskaram, Delhi Telugu Academy Award, Madras Telugu Academy Award, Pratibha Puraskar from Nagarjuna University, and Rayalaseema Ratna Award in 2012, along with his psychiatrist son, Dr. Bisal Reddy. He is conducting PG, DNB in psychiatry training program for the last 11 years and also postdoctoral fellowship in child and adolescent psychiatry recognized by Dr. NTR University of Health and Sciences at Women's Vijayawada. Welcome, Dr. Indla. And we have with us
Thank you.
The vibrant Dr. Radhasri. Please, next slide. Next slide, Pavan. Yes. We have got vibrant Dr. Radhasri Rai, MD FRC Psych and CCT General Adult and CCT Addiction Psychiatry, PGDME and NLSU Bangalore, PGMSC, Team Mountain University, okay. She's Associate Professor in Psychiatry and Consultant Psychiatry and Psychotherapist, Ramakrishna Mission Seva Pratishthan, Kolkata, Vedanta Center for Healing Minds, Salt Lake. She is the chairperson of Spirituality and Mental Health Task Force of Indian Psychiatric Society and running very nice program regularly, twice a week meetings and alternate Friday meetings. She is co-chairperson of Yoga and Meditation Task Force of IPS and Executive Council member of Indian Psychiatric Society West Bengal branch. She is ex-clinical director and consultant psychiatry of Birmingham and Soulful Mental Health NHS Foundation Trust, UK. Is ex-paper setter, MRC Psych Examination, Royal College of Psychiatrists, UK. Senior examiner and lecturer of University of Birmingham, UK. Honorary research fellow, University of Birmingham. We have got 2 brilliant speakers and brilliant giants of Indian psychiatry, both vibrant, Indra and Rajasri. Welcome, both of you. And with this, I hand over the stage to Dr. Indra Ramashubha Reddy and Dr. Rajasri. Your stage, please.
Thank you, Dr. Tofan, for the nice introduction of me and Rajasri Rai. And once again, good evening to everyone and our Silly Alim and Amrit, and also other senior colleagues like Prasad Rao, and also today's speaker, Dr. Gulbahar Sidhu, and so many other colleagues. I think it is now more than 100 participants are already we can see on the screen. this topic is very close to my heart, cinema and psychiatry. I think probably for the last 20 years I have been doing on this, and I have been I gave a lot of talks also on this in our national and other regional conferences on cinema and psychiatry. I'm very happy that Dr. Gulbahar also is interested in this topic, and I saw in his biodata he is by choice he's a writer, and probably by accident, by compulsion, he has become a psychiatrist. I think very interesting to note that probably he will elaborate on that. What is this? So I'm very much passionate to see this. Other thing is this topic, the therapeutic utility of using cinema in our day-to-day practice is very important, and because cinema is the most powerful media to communicate with the masses and public also, both educated and illiterate. There are some positive, and it is a double-edged sword. Of course, I think Sidhu is going to tell about the positive things, but there are some, it is a double-edged sword, and it can give a negative message and positive message both. The positive, and especially in the past, both Bollywood and other regional languages of India, and psychiatry was shown in a very poor light. Like psychiatry, mental hospitals and psychiatrists are shown as villains, comedians, and also sometimes they themselves are crazy. So this type of projection was there. And there was a book also by Dinesh Bugra on Mad Tales of Bollywood. Also, I think many of you might have read it. This is one aspect. Of course, there are some positive things also. For example, these positive things we can utilize in our therapeutic also. One of the common examples which I use in my practice about the John Nash, A Beautiful Mind, where he was a paranoid schizophrenic, and then he was treated by a psychiatrist, and he becomes almost normal, and with the help of his spouse support, then he gets Nobel Prize after recovery from schizophrenia. So a schizophrenic also can, after recovery, after treatment, he can get a Nobel Prize. This is a very positive example for a psychiatric illness. And being that too, he was a professor in mathematics, basically. But he gets the Nobel Prize for economics. That is something, again, very marvelous. So this is a very positive example. And even for when we talk to the parents of dyslexic children, I give the example of Tare Jameen Par. So there are so many very good examples. And also we can use some, for example, when I talk about dissociative disorders, I tell about our in the South Indian Chandramukhi and Onion. In, of course, Bollywood, it has come as a Bhool Bhulaiya, something like that. That is where it is a classical example of dissociation. Like that, go on telling, so many examples are there. So, but the negative thing is, I will give one or two examples and close my talk, brief remarks. When the One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was released, many patients in the mental hospital, psychiatric, they withdrew their consent for ECT. That was very negative about ECT after that movie. Also, another Bollywood movie, I think many of us have seen, Kyunki, where Salman Khan is a hero and he gets admitted in the psychiatric hospital, and how ECT was given, just he misbehaves with the attend ward boy, so he's forcibly taken to ECT room. How ECT was given so crudely shown, and after that there was a lot of chaos in this thing. So this type of negative examples are also there. Even in, of course, our main purpose is to take it. Nowadays, suppose there is a change when compared to the past and now. The cinema directors and writers also now they realize the importance of psychiatry as a medical specialty. Now more positive light is thrown in Bollywood and other languages, even in Hollywood. Even other important thing is psychiatry we can use in when I teach for our undergraduates and postgraduates also. For example, specific disorders, we quote some cinemas. See, this OCD in so-and-so movie was shown like this, paranoid schizophrenia, something like that. So there we can take so many examples while teaching, because the undergraduates especially, they are very familiar, they take the cues very easy. So this is another powerful media to use, even not only for therapy but for teaching our UGs and PGs also. I think with this brief remarks, anyway, again we will get an opportunity at the end. So over to Rajeshri Ray for introducing Dr. Sidhu and also her remarks on this. Over to Dr. Rajeshri Ray.
Thank you, sir. Good evening to everyone. I really have no words to thank Tofan Poti sir, Alim Bhai, and my dear brother Amrit Bhai to actually be inviting me for this 58th occasion. From the day we started seeing your Thursday musings, we were amazed by the dedication someone could have as a team to live this time. And as I've said before, our Friday Awakenings was inspired by your Thursday musings. So it is a great honor for me to be here, especially to be chairing a session for such a respected senior person like Dr. Sidhu sir. So thank you. I'm a I'm not very versed in all this, but I'll try my best to understand. And as you know, there's a big concept of movie therapy, and which I'm sure Sir will be talking about today. So I'll keep my comments towards the end for this, and specifically because I come from Bengal. Gautamda is saying he can't see anything, so I'm not sure what's the problem, sir. So I come from Bengal. I will be talking about certain films of Satyajit Roy and Prasad Rao sir has mentioned. But I want to share, this is my own personal acronym about cinema and its effects on mental health. And let's see if it resonates with all of us today. Because cinema and drama or theater, I put it together when I conceptualize. It's a form of art. So the first word of cinema, C, it helps in communication with our patients, with ourselves, with everyone. It's a language, it crosses all language barriers, whether it's a silent movie from the past or whether it's something with music, something with dance, it talks in a different language, it talks in different vibes. So C for communication. I is for inspiration or motivation, just like Dr. Reddy sir sort of quoted films which inspire us, motivates us as professionals, and it inspires our families, our friends, our students, our children, everyone. So I comes with inspiration and motivation. N to me in cinema is novelty. It's a new concept. A lot of things we do is I suddenly see a film and I, oh gosh, I should have done that. I should have seen that. Why did I not experiment that before? So this concept of novelty and the fact that even John Nash with schizophrenia can win a Nobel Prize, I would never have thought if I hadn't seen this picture. So the novelty of N. E is the energy. After a very hard day's work, we all get energized. Either we dance or sing or watch a film or something. So cinema is a form of energizing us with a glass of glucon D, really. So that's the power in mental health that cinema can bring us. And M is for modeling. Because M, I think we watch films, whether it's a relationship film or even as a wife, how should I relate with my husband? Whether I should, scold him or not talk to him. All these modeling things, how does a student teacher relate to each other? How does a guru and a shishya relate? How doctors, friends? So it teaches us about modeling. And finally, my A for cinema is association. It bonds, it gels, it creates friendships across the world. Even if I don't speak Kannada, if I don't understand a South Indian film, with some things I will understand your culture. So it is association for me. So in a way, cinema with all these 6 components creates an impact on mental health. That is my little understanding of this world. But sir, over to you, and may I have sir's slides to introduce him, please? Sir is a consultant psychiatrist from Jalandhar at the Dayoba Multi-Speciality Hospital in Punjab. Sir has completed his post-graduation from the Department of Psychiatry at the Anand Medical College, Ludhiana. Sir looks very young in this photo, I must say. Salute to you, sir. And he's presently the honorary treasurer of the state branch of the IAPP and the EC member of the IPS North Zone, a writer by choice, a psychiatrist by compulsion, but I'm sure it's the best mix that we can have. Thank you for coming, and over to you, sir.
Are my slides visible to everyone?
No, sir, not yet.
Share your slides first. Your screen share is not entered yet.
Okay.
Now is it?
Yes, sir. We can go to slideshow now.
Right.
Click on it, slide share.
सर स्लाइड शो द ये जो 65% के पास वाला जो बटन है, दैट वन, जस्ट लेफ्ट टू द बॉटम राइट में देखिए.
Sir has a issue of network.
एक वाइन ग्लास जैसा आइकन है.
Yeah, sir. Now is everyone able to see my screen?
We are able to see your screen, sir. Just if you can make it full screen.
We've already done full screen, sir. Why?
So probably it's just a time lag. Yeah, it will happen. Just a moment.
Should we start?
Yeah, now it's
Okay.
Right, now the screen. Right, sir. So good evening, everyone.
I think his connection dropped.
Is that now okay?
Yes, sir. You need to share again. Probably it was disconnected.
Share it again. Just a minute, sir. Now is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So thank you very much, Dr. Tufan, so much of I'm thrilled to be with so many hours of psychiatry. The topic which I call is utility of cinema.
Excuse me. The voice is breaking.
Okay, now?
Voice is breaking. Maybe bandwidth with you is a little low.
Sir, can you send us the PowerPoint? The Pawan can play the PowerPoint, sir.
If you can send the PowerPoint, we'll.
No. Then the videos will not show.
The video won't show. Then the video won't show. Yes.
सर अपना वीडियो ऑफ कर दीजिए. यू स्विच ऑफ योर वीडियो एंड देन स्क्रीन शेयर. दोबारा से री शेयर योर स्क्रीन एंड अपनी वीडियो ऑफ कर लीजिए सर, सो दैट द बैंडविड्थ कैन बी सेव.
ओके सर, वीडियो में ऑफ कर लेता हूँ.
हाँ, यस, गुड नाउ सर.
गुड इनफ नाउ?
हाँ सर, वॉइस इज गुड.
ओके. There we go. Right. So the presentation that follows is not meant to be an academic exercise, I must confess. And the movies featured in this presentation are based on personal recollection and the memories of some senior citizens in my family and circle of friends, and memories that are blurred by you all have to excuse me out on some good examples. Anyway, I'll try to convey my message as clearly as possible. So cinema, as Dr. Tufan just said, cinema is a very powerful medium down the ages, and these are the images we've all grown up with, you know, the typical cinema that was there when I was a child, and I have grown up watching this thrill. And if we look back at how effective is cinema, you know, I was just trying to look up some stats. And I found out that in a year, worldwide, about 2022 million people go and watch a movie. That's a huge number. And the economics of cinema doesn't finish in the people watching the movies. It is all to do with how much money is involved in making a movie. It's said that in India, uh, in making a typical movie, it costs about 100 crore of rupees. So these facts are important from our perspective, because just I'll soon discuss that when it comes to portrayal of mental health, these stats are very relevant. So I'll keep coming back to this unparalleled thrill of watching a movie. Uh, so before I come to the topic of the use of cinema, I thought I looked up and tried to find that how do we define a movie? A movie is, this is a dictionary definition of a movie. It's an audio visual imagery that is produced by a series of pictures set in motion, which depicts an idea or a theme. And the definition is not complete if we look at it. The great Satyajit Ray, he defined cinema in a little more elaborate way. He said that cinema's characteristic fault is its ability to capture and communicate the intimacies of human mind. You know, that means that cinema goes far beyond just the audio visual imagery. It is something that conveys the intimacies of human mind. And now today we'll examine over the course of next few slides that how good or how bad has cinema been in communicating the intimacies of human mind. And then we'll discuss that how can cinema help us in understanding the intimacies of human mind. So this is a small little, I was just the way ma'am just was telling the acronym for cinema. I too found a little bit of an acronym about what is cinema. So is it escapism? Is it entertainment? It's about culture. It's about technology. And it means many things to many people. So now the first part of my presentation deals with cinema and mental health, a topsy-turvy relationship. We'll have a brief overview of what kind of relationship cinema has had with mental health. What are the right words to describe this relationship? I tried looking up here and there and applying my own thoughts to it, and I thought it's very difficult to define. Is it an odd relationship? Is it an inappropriate relationship? Is it a beautiful relationship? Is it a poignant relationship? Or is it something beyond all these words? I mean, it's a relationship which is very difficult for all of us to decipher. Now, what is my take on it? The relationship is interesting, but rather topsy-turvy. That's the word which I have used. The depictions range from downright shoddy to stunningly beautiful, sensitive, and responsible. Though the islands of brilliance are few and far between in the ocean of cinematic history. The question which I want to address is why this is a relationship which is so difficult and what are the reasons for it. And the probable reasons are many. Because movie making business with high stakes, 100 crore of rupees to make a movie, and the movie makers want to make its business, and to risk the theme of mental health in a portrayed right way. This is a high stakes game, and awareness and correct information about mental health and problems is less even among the script writers and movie makers. Like I just discovered a few good movies, the examples of good movies that have come up with respect to mental health. They've all come from people who themselves have had psychiatric illness or whose family members have had psychiatric illness. I think that makes them more aware. And there are more probable reasons why this relationship is difficult. Movie, because after all, is a medium to narrate a story. And if we look at the movie in a way that why has the movie portrayed a mental illness appropriately, then it will never happen because it is different from what a documentary is. A lot is implied when it comes to movie. So movie cannot by its very nature be expected to portray a mental health issue or problem in its entirety. So what kind of picturization of mental health have we seen in movies down the years? This is a general thing. And I must confess that if I were not a doctor, this is the medley which follows this slide. That is what we would look up. This would be my image of a mental health, mental illness, and a mental health facility. So here is a small medley which I have prepared.
Some movie sound is not coming. Only the movie video is coming.
Sound is not coming. Just a minute, sir. Just a minute.
I think you have to give the permission जैसे आपने पहले किया था.
Reshare it, yes.
डर लगता है? क्यों डर लगता है?
कोई नहीं, क्यों?
सब घर गए। हाँ, सब घर गए। तुम घर गए?
कहते हैं मैं ठीक नहीं हूँ।
मैंने अपनी बीवी का खून किया है। मैंने अपनी बीवी का खून किया है।
So can we raise the voice of the clips?
The volume?
Volume. Yeah.
I'll try it out, sir. I don't think so I can.
Okay.
So this is a brief, what I wanted to tell you was how the mental illness has been portrayed down the ages. Or not psychologists, not doctors, the general impression still have what a mental illness is and how to treat it. It has come even to the recently we had this movie. There's a controversial title of this movie, and then later on it was changed. And this is something which I find the most funniest. That this alcohol addiction in one song. We all remember this song, and by gives up his addiction. So this is the negative, the way the cinema has conveyed mental illnesses. But uh, uh, what is the main theme of our attention is how to we use this cinema for our perspective. Now this is an area which is definitely underrated. It is uncharted, underrecognized, but it has interesting possibilities when I start thinking about it. And if you look at the history, because we have to view we want to view cinema in a positive light. There have been some islands of real brilliance if we look at it, and it is very difficult to choose which are the scenes which convey all this brilliance. I have chosen three small scenes just to showcase the fact that cinema can portray a mental illness or an emotional problem in a very sensitive way. And this is the first visual that I want you to have a look. This is from the movie Saransh, and I think it is very relevant in today's scenario of post-COVID grief.
So again, the clips are not audible enough. Very, very low sound is there.
Is it audible, sir?
No, no.
It's not audible. Just a minute.
Not here, sir.
The sound is not there.
Sir, no sound, sir. Can you increase your audio in your laptop, sir?
I will. I will.
Okay, good.
Maybe in the audio button, you need to go into the settings and increase the output.
Okay.
There is a marker beside the mute unmute button. If you go into that, there is the audio setting. Will come there.
Mute unmute button.
उसके बगल में जो तीर जैसे खुलने के लिए है ना, उसके अंदर म्यूट अनम्यूट आ जाए.
How is the clue now? Is the sound better now, sir? Is the audio okay now?
No audio, sir.
No audio?
Dr. Fabian is saying use share computer sound.
Share computer sound. Just a minute.
Will you have a drink?
Now it's okay? Yeah. This is the second thing which I wanted to share. Suicide in the approach.
गुड न्यूज़ है सर, ना पुलिस को पता चला ना जॉय के बाप को. सब सोच रहे सुसाइड है सर. पोस्टमार्टम रिपोर्ट में आया है मौत का कारण इंटेंस प्रेशर ऑन विंड पाइप रिजल्टिंग इन चोकिंग. वो बेवकूफ सोच रहे हैं कि इधर प्रेशर पड़ने की वजह से मर गया, और पिछले 4 साल से जो यहां प्रेशर पड़ रहा है उसका क्या, वो तो रिपोर्ट में है ही नहीं सर. ये इंजीनियर्स बड़े चालाक होते हैं सर. ऐसी कोई मशीनें नहीं बनाई जो यहां का प्रेशर नाप सके. बनाते तो पता चल जाता कि ये सुसाइड नहीं मर्डर है सर.
And the third and last scene which I want to share is from the movie Raat Aur Din. It's a black and white movie, and this scene I think explains to say undergraduates with multiple personality disorder.
Will you have a drink? Yes, please. 2 whiskeys large. ताजुब है, आप इतना अच्छा हंसते हैं, मगर क्या? आप पहले शिमला में थे. शिमला में? नहीं तो. जी बात है. मुझे ऐसा लगा कि मैं आपसे शिमला में मिला था किसी पार्टी में. ओह नो, आपको गलतफहमी होगी. मैं हैव सिगरेट प्लीज. थैंक यू. मैं तो घर चलो. तुम जाते हो या नहीं? तब ये मेरी भी है. तुम्हारी?
And last, beyond these few, I would like to mention a few movies which had mental health issues as a central theme, and which did well in conveying mental health in right perspective. Suicide in the right light is presented in this particular movie, and we're talking of the power of cinema. And there are a few dialogues which supposed to see the movie, at least he'll come back out of the cinema hall with the dialogue. I think these dialogues mean a lot. सक्सेस के बाद का प्लान सबके पास है, लेकिन अगर गलती से फेल हो गए तो फिर से कैसे there's a lot of things about a person.
Sir, your audio has dropped. Dr. Gulbahar, your audio is off.
Now I'm audible.
Yes,
Am I
sir.
audible? Some dialogues to remember with regard to mental health. And this is another dialogue from the movie Chichore कि हम हार जीत सक्सेस फेलियर में इतना उलझ गए हैं कि जिंदगी जीना ही भूल गए हैं. जिंदगी में अगर कुछ सबसे ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है तो वो है खुद जिंदगी. I mean, this is the dialogue which is relevant to many of our patients who come to us and they don't know how to deal with it. Uh, yeah. So another gem of a movie with respect to portrayal of mental health, sir was talking in the beginning, Tare Zameen Par. I mean, this is a movie which brought dyslexia into the focus, and a mature portrayal of the problem of alcoholism in this movie, Daddy. I think it was made by Mahesh Bhatt, who himself has been suffering from alcoholism almost all his life.
Sir, screen
And
is
this
not visible.
screen is not visible.
No, no.
Just a minute, sir. Screen is not visible. Screen is not visible. And to sort all these network problems anyway. This is a hilarious take on the movie called Am I audible? Am I audible? Audible and visible?
Sir,
It's a
voice.
hilarious take on. Yes, sir.
Sir,
Am
voice
I
crack.
audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is a hilarious take on hypochondriasis, a movie called Meri Bibi Ki Shaadi in 1979 was released. And then this movie, we all have seen Choti Si Baat for social anxiety is beautiful.
So screen share has stopped and your voice is also dropped out.
Am I audible now? I'm audible now?
Yes, sir. Your audio icon disappears. बीच बीच में वो चला जाता है माइक. अभी ठीक है.
Yeah, I think now it should be okay. Is it not, I'm audible now? Well enough?
Yes, sir.
Right. Right. So I was talking of this movie Piku. So these are a few examples which I could find out down the history of cinema that were good examples with respect to mental illness. And yeah. And who can forget this movie Hello Zindagi, which focused, which portrayed psychiatrist in the right light, psychologist, so just to say, although not in the absolutely correct way, but still it was a break from the past. So is the Indian cinema finally coming of age with respect to mental health? And why should we as psychiatrists be so concerned? There's no denying the power of cinema, especially when it comes to the younger generation. Cinema could act as a myth buster and a stigma buster. about mental health problems in our part of the world. And the thing is there a justified case of adding movies as part of the teaching curriculum or as a teaching aid in postgraduate programs of psychiatry, even undergraduates also, for spreading awareness about psychiatric illness and their treatment among general public, and use as a teaching aid for medical courses, both undergraduate and postgraduate. It is a powerful medium, no doubt, and we are not using it in all of it very extensively. I mean, all these years, I was not shown as a student any movie clip. It's now that I'm rediscovering all of this. And what can be the other uses, potential uses in clinical practice? It can be a good way for patient and caregiver education, and destigmatizing mental health and problems associated with it. These are the few ways in which the cinema can work wonders. Another pertinent question: do other specialties fare any better with respect to the portrayal on silver screen, or is psychiatry the worst sufferer? I mean, this is beside the point, but still it haunts me, because I found this is my personal opinion. It's open to be to question. I feel that psychiatry is definitely the worst sufferer, and the probable reason is again lack of awareness about mental health problems among even the movie makers, the script writers. They are not aware, and that is why probably psychiatry is portrayed in the way it is. And that brings me to another aspect of the cinema and psychiatry. Is there a justification for demanding that the Central Board of Film Certification should have a mental health professional as a member, nominated probably by Indian Psychiatric Society, who should screen all the movies with respect to the content and portrayal of issues related to mental health? And if I look up, I tried looking up the structure of CBFS, and I found that who can be a member after all, and this is the structure, and who can be the member of this board. It does not require any special qualifications except analysis and reputation in the analyzing field, and a few film critics, journalists, and celebrity personalities are a part of censor board. Why can't a psychiatrist be a part of the censor board? And to conclude, I really hope that we should let cinema be the torch bearer of the mental health fraternity. I mean, there's a huge potential. It's under-recognized area, and we should all be working and, in fact, using cinema as a powerful medium to convey mental health problems to the general public. And even the negative aspect, which I just showed in that medley, even that can be used, because that way we can show to the general public and to the people, the patient caregiver, that this definitely is not psychiatry. This is not the way we treat the patients. So we already have a rich array of scenes, of movies, of stories, which are relevant and which can be used by us in our clinics the very next day. It is just that we have not started on it yet. And from my presentation, what I would like to request all of us, all the stalwarts present here, is to apply the mind, think about it, and indeed why we can use movies as a tool of spreading awareness about mental health problems. Thank you for being so patient listeners, and thank you for bearing with the network problems, because that was absolutely unintended. And I must apologize for those glitches. And I'll hand it over to the chairpersons for any comments. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think Dr. Sidhu.
Yes.
I think probably Alim, you want
Sir,
to
please,
say
please.
something else? Okay.
Please.
Okay. So I think Sidhu, you have done a good job. Only thing, probably there was some technical problem in the audio and video. Otherwise, it could have been much more interesting and informative. I think some of our colleagues could not follow it properly because of the audio interruption, and also sometimes the video there was some problem. Anyway, you have done a good job. So I think because of your special interest, I should congratulate you for taking so many pains and showing some good video clips also. Anyway, before this thing pass on to Rajeshri, Ray. One or two things about that is a good suggestion from Sidhu that one member nominated by IPS can be a member of the censor board. That is wonderful. But only thing is, most of the nominations of the central censor board members are only merely political. They are all political appointments. If the BJP government is there, you have to be a BJP sympathizer or something like that. If the Congress government is there, you have to be there. Probably they will accept one or two intellectuals and celebrities. Other members are more of a political nominations. So I don't know how far it may be practicable when it comes to Indian Psychiatric Society nominating. If there is a rule or a clause that one psychiatrist should be there, I think that is a very good suggestion. It is welcome. I don't know how far we maybe the IPS can be successful. If there is a separate task force on cinema or media or mental health, I think that the task force should take it further. The other thing I just want to quote one example at this juncture before I pass on to Rajeshri, that when Ek Duje Ke Liye was released in Bollywood, see, first it was released in Telugu and South Indian languages in the name of Maro Charitra by Balachandar with Kamal Hassan and Sarita in the South Indian language. When that movie was released in South Indian, especially Telugu, it was a super duper hit. Nothing has happened. But when the same movie was retaken in Hindi with Kamal Hassan and Rati Agnihotri by the same director, Balachandar is a very popular director in South, especially in Tamil. And after the movie, the last scene of Ek Duje Ke Liye, I think many of you remember that Kamal Hassan and Rati Agnihotri, they love each other, they want to get married, and because of some unforeseen circumstances and it gets failure, and the last scene, Rati will be raped by some villains, and then both of them come to the seashore and to the top of the hill, and they hand in hand, they decide to end their lives, and they fall into the sea and they commit suicide. After the release of this movie, some youngsters, this happened maybe about, I think more than 40 years back, this movie was released. And there were so many reports of suicide by young disappointed lovers in Maharashtra and other northern states, where some youngsters, again hand in hand, going to the top of the apartment or top of the hill, like the last scene of Ek Duje Ke Liye, they also fell down and committed suicide. So there were many letters to the editor in Hindu and in Indian Express criticizing Balachandar, such an intellectual, creative director. Is it the message you are giving to the youngsters? That means if you fail in love, do you mean to say that you are giving a suggestion that they have to commit suicide? See, Balachandar unknowingly has done this. He never thought of that people will do like this by seeing this. This acted like a suggestion. Sometimes, many times it happens, identification, the psychological mechanisms, what happened in the movie and this thing is, first they identify the stars and they imitate, and the suggestion plays a role. So identification, imitation and suggestion. Understand? So then Balachandar became very guilty of many criticizing letters went to him, both in the through the press and personally to him. Then he felt very guilty, and he then consulted some psychiatrists in Chennai city, and then he took another movie to overcome his guilt. Then he made another movie where again the theme was something like this, where some people, youngsters, fail in their life in so many these things, and they finally the message is that even if you fail in something, either love or career or whatever it is, suicide is not the thing. There are so many other options like that. So that was he just wanted to compensate for what he has done to overcome his guilt. So it is only an example. I just want to give how cinema is so powerful on some. It is, of course, all the people who have seen the Ek Duje Ke Liye may not commit suicide, but these are the vulnerable personalities. So vulnerable personalities, youngsters, some of them have done like this, and so such things also can happen. The cinema is such a powerful medium, both on the positive and the negative side. So we have to keep these things also in mind. Anyway, now over to Rajeshri Ray for her comments, and then over to the moderators.
Ma'am, just a moment. I was one of the persons who wrote this letter to the editor in Indian Express about this movie. I remember excellent. I was in class 10th or 9th or 10th when I wrote this letter. Just to add.
Yeah. Okay, good. Nice to hear it. I was not knowing this. Anyway, nice.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Dr. Sidhu. It was a fascinating talk. And though fortunately in this times of technology and Zoom platforms, we are very lucky to have you, sir. But the network was an issue, and I'm sure we would love to hear this talk again. It was so very relevant in the context of what you addressed. And we know, there are many reviews about how portrayal of psychiatry, whether it's in Hollywood, Bollywood, South Indian films, or where I come from, Tollywood, has had. We realize that the impact of the cinemedia is extremely important because in every region and even nationally, actors and actresses are literally worshipped as gods. And whether they, whatever they do, that becomes the norm, that becomes the culture. So this, as psychiatrists, we are fighting stigma for many years. We should be using this powerful media to help change. And of course, I think it's a couple of years back when IPS stood very firmly against this film, and we managed to change the title of it. It was a historic moment in our, and it showed that if we stand up for the rights, we can do it. We realized that initial stigmatization about madness, how it was interpreted, how it was shown in films before, it's actually gradually changing. Many films are now made with very strong social messages. The newer films are spreading an important awareness, and this is helping to reduce stigma of mental illness. A lot of critics have talked about cinema, the emotions that get portrayed through it, the different attitudes people have about mental illness, the socio-economic conditions, in fact, the personalities. A lot of personality disorders have been portrayed through different films, and not just films. I think we can take it beyond to theaters and even our television serials, television dramas that go on. A lot of them are really nothing but human relationships, family dramas that get enacted in many homes in our country and beyond. We have generally talked about, I think, mental illness in a Western context, how we define schizophrenia, how we define manic depression, what is the possession states, trances, reincarnations. Sometimes there's a cultural difference to it. And more we have in culturally contextual fashions, these illnesses, how they get portrayed, I think people will be able to accept mental illness more broadly. Of course, there's a fun element to cinema. There's an interaction there, but we must, as professionals, go beyond that and understand how to make it work for us in our patients. And coming from Bengal, I have to sort of mention, I just can't help but talking about Satyajit Ray, and I know this presentation covered him as well. The trilogy of Satyajit Ray from Pather Pachali in 1955 and Aparajito, it portrayed the struggle of family. These were iconic films. They showed the struggle, the poverty, the lack of proper medical care, the natural calamities in villages. It earned critical acclaims from many sources, the sufferings, the depression. Of course, these days, we wouldn't want to see those films, and they appear years, very different, very distant to us. But those were the times, and sometimes those pockets of suffering, depression in villages, superstitions, cultural beliefs are still there. There are many hundreds of films that has been covered, quite a few of them like Charulata, Mohanagur in Bengali. I think what we could, as a professional group, we could think about is there are films which depict certain areas like, you have ADHDs, autism spectrums, on personality disorders, on relationships, on addictions. So we could choose a theme maybe, just as a suggestion, just like one of the suggestions came about, nominating someone in the censor board. Also, as a general talk, we should talk about these topics much more and maybe choose areas and select all these films and then do a critical acclamation. And critically, we can appraise these films so that we understand how powerful media can be in many ways. Well, thank you very much. And on that note, over to you, back to you and our moderators to take this discussion forward to the audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson and Speaker. My simple question would be, why would a filmmaker listen to IPS or listen to us, or how to make that happen? Any comments? I think Prasad Rao sir is also there. I think one of the right persons for answering this question.
No, you are absolutely right, Alim. I think the film producers are creative people. I think I personally, during my younger days, has watched all the movies of Satyajit Ray, and see, there used to be a Bengali movie. I would say movement at that time. Then came the South. But one important theme is, after all, cinema should project to us the human behavior in some form, and the more abnormal they are, more likely to take as one or two themes. It might not be to your liking, but I personally feel that a creative person will create uh, a theme based on some story, and cinema is a way of storytelling with a. There need not be a message, but there is a message which a director wants to send a story through. But also remember, it's a high gamble risk business. So cinema, to be successful, like our I would say, borrowing the word, out of 30 molecules, only one antidepressant is coming, and each antidepressant would cost $2 trillion. So it's as gamble as much in a movie. Out of each one successful movie, I think 20 movies bomb in the. But at the same time, I think every one of us who are watching this today's program are somewhat involved in the movies. We like the movies. I think Rajeshri said very clearly, after a tired day, come and watch. Nowadays, during the lockdown time, me and my wife are watching quite a lot Korean serials, actually. So there is something which we go through. And last but not the least, and I think Inla has said very clearly, I still use a lot of themes from the movie to impress, and it be it Tare Se Jamane and Beautiful Mind is a very common thing. In fact, I have it on my laptop and show it to them, and they're so impressed, and especially those who do not have insight to the delusions, hallucinations, that kind of a thing. But again, I think this is a very good talk, Gulbahar. You have taken to journey. Only unfortunately, the problem was the video and audio were not going very well. But I think I enjoyed it personally, and I think next time I think I would request you to talk on creative writing and something
I
about that.
would. May I add something, sir? I mean, this is answer to Dr. Aleem. He was saying that why should the filmmakers talk about mental health in the right way? I mean, the concept has changed. The movie has to be engaging. It's not necessary that movie has to portray a typical stereotype. When a movie has to engage, and if it engages in the right way, it still can be a very interesting movie. I mean, this is the concept which the script writers should take forward. The more the script writers understand our illnesses, the more they are aware of it, the more better scripts we'll have. I think it all goes down to awareness about mental health issues. We can have a good movie even by portraying the right kind of notes, by striking the right notes about mental illness. It's a myth. It's a myth to say that good box office success cannot be achieved if we if we portray the psychiatric illness in the right way. I don't agree with it.
Thank you, sir. But Anjali ma'am, I think she has one of the maximum experience with film industry, ma'am.
So I was listening to this discussion, and I think, there's no time like today if we really want to talk about mental health, because everybody is interested in mental health. So I think this is the time we should really go out and talk about mental health. I think when this movie Dear Zindagi came, I think there was a lot of positive, of course, Tare Zameen Pe we know about, but other movies also. And again, today cinema is not restricted to only Bollywood movies. Netflix is in our house, and even in the last, I think in the pandemic, there have been so many short films which have been made on mental health. And these are superb movies, which I think we should, so I think we need to engage with them. Of course, they want money and all that. And I'll just end by sharing something really funny that happened once in my career. There was, a lot of script writers come and say, why don't you read this script and tell us what it sounds? And so I discussed the script with him and all that. And then I forgot about it. Okay. And then the next thing, and there was this actor called Shifali Shah. Okay. This movie is Kaushik Calling Kaushik. Okay, I don't know. I'm sure all of you have seen it. Now, when we went to see this movie, my husband and my son were sitting next to me, and they both turned and looked at me and saying, "Oh my God, she reminds us of you," because she had come to observe me. So that was one incident that comes to my mind. And the second incident, yeah, Karthik, calling Karthik, yes. And the second incident I remember is there's this movie called Mirch. Okay, I don't know if any of you have seen it. I mean, I'm happy if people haven't seen it, because suddenly in the middle of the movie, the guy turns around and says, "तुम ऐसी बात करोगे तो मैं तुमको अंजलि छाबरिया के पास लेके चलूंगा." So I was so scared when that released, because I said, MCI is going to come gunning after me and say that you're advertising, but obviously I had no clue. So I think we need to have a relationship, with cinema, and, help them to evolve further. Of course, we should criticize when things are not done properly, but it is an investment of our time, and I think we should be willing to share that time.
How receptive are they when you talk to them?
No, they're very receptive. That's why they come. But what happens is they also want you to, right now I've got 2 or 3 scripts which I have to read, and then they want to know, see, because today's filmmaker is also very intelligent, because they know that we can, as Dr. Prasad said, he's watching Korean films. We can watch anything today. So they're not only competing with Bollywood, So, and of course, we should make a huge noise if something is not portrayed well, and tell them how, see, the media and cinema, I mean, this is something, people are always saying ki kyunki hota hai hum dikhate hain, but I think we need to engage in discussion and continue talking to them. Thanks.
Alim, can I say something at the juncture? Alim?
Sure, sir.
Yeah. So I think one of our colleagues was commenting, why should cinema people should listen to psychiatrists and us. I remember one incident, a practical incident. I think about 12 years back, Prasad Rao remembers, there was a national conference of IAPP in Hyderabad, Indian Association of Private Psychiatry, in which cinema and psychiatry was one of the, like a discussion where myself and Dr. Sunil Mittal was on one side, and Ram Gopal Verma, the popular Bollywood director, Telugu person, Ram Gopal Verma, who is known for his Sarkar and others. So he was the guest. So on one side he was there, and we tried to argue. There was something like a debate between us and Ram Gopal Verma. And we tried to say that cinema, because he is known for his movies on sorcery, black magic, horror, violence, and other things. So we said this will create some impact on their minds and mental health. So why don't you consider this and see that this aspect can be reduced in your movies? But Ram Gopal Verma vehemently denied. He says, no, I just do movies for entertainment sake. So you just see the movie in the theater and forget once you leave the theater. Why should you think about it? So he absolutely refused to accept any of our psychiatric suggestion that he says there will not be any impact on mental health. It is only for entertainment and our business. So we don't care for any of your feelings. People will be, their minds will be affected, their mental health will be affected. Some people may commit suicide, some people may become neurotic or phobic or whatever it is. So this is an example. Cinema people will not listen to our suggestion as mental health profession. This is just, this happened really in Hyderabad in a national conference of IAPP. Over to Alim.
Yes, Dr. Gulbahar wants to say something.
Yeah, sir, Indian Psychiatric Society has taken a right step by having just a few couple of months back, a competition, short film competition, and incidentally, the movie which won the first prize was scripted by me and Dr. Desai, and Dr. Alim had a stellar role, memorable role in that movie. So I would suggest all the people present here to have a look at the movie. And I think that's the way we should be portraying it, the movies. IPS has done a good step in that direction, I think.
So if I can add on this, that's beautiful, sir. And I was also sort of thinking, because we have our IPS office leaders here. Alim bhai, there's a suggestion, if you allow me to make, is we have so much of talent within our own fraternity. From script writing to acting to singing to dancing to being a detective to whatever. Boy, and this is the times of short films, because these which are called pocket films nowadays. People are watching pocket films. People don't always have time to sit and go through a 2-hour script. But these pocket films, and I spent some time spend, just 15 minutes, 17 minutes, 18 minutes pocket films, and they carry a big, strong message which people remember. So if we can do a series, and we don't have to go to other production houses to ask for their permission for it to be made, why don't we have our own IPS production house, just like we have an IPS publications? Why don't we take, just rather than having some small videos on people talking, why don't we have pocket films? On some, of course, they have to be quality pocket films, but this is just a thought. And we can integrate, and it should be ourselves, acting, dancing, singing, whatever we want to do, scripting, whatever.
Then Alim will always play the hero's role. And
That's
the rest
fine,
will have to
Amrit.
play the villain's role.
We'll make sure
And
you
there'll be a lot
alternate
of
with
fights.
him.
And there'll be a lot of fights. But the time has changed. Actually, as Madam is telling, now it's like OTTs. We don't have, people are not going to the movie hall. It's all about series. Series of series. People have become series addicts now. So, looking after what the series are trying to portray is much more important now. If you look at sexuality, if you look at, the different forms, I think the internet, the OTT platforms are much more important. And that is where the content, becomes, you have uninhibited people telling whatever they want to do, people portraying whatever they want to do. There are a lot of, drugs. If you look at addiction, you look at drugs, if you look at, multiple things, the OTTs also are a place where we have to, it will be the next in thing. And that is where our society has to move in. Movies, maybe 10, 20 in a year. But series, if you look at all languages, be it Hindi, English, regional languages, everywhere it is filled up. And that is where our roles will be much more important, I feel. If we are in sync with producers, directors, production houses, we all senior psychiatrists, a lot of people come to us for treatment. And I think everybody has a small role to make a bigger impact overall. And if IPS starts a production house, then I don't know what will happen. There'll be chaos.
There's a suggestion, Amrit Bhai, IPS
No,
movie.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking. So a lot of people are appreciating the idea you gave. Fabian is telling where to go. Prasad sir is telling where to go. Simi, Dr. Simi is there. You wanted to say something about some movie, Dr. Simi? Because we don't have too many questions.
Okay. Actually, I was still driving back. But no, I was just saying that, yes, I think short films are the way to go in the future. And a lot of NGOs can play a big role over here. I don't know if the IPS is really ready for that. But yes, we can have Amrit and Alim starring in them. And we have a lot of other young talent, of course. And writers, we have now people who are actually writing books. So maybe we could involve them. But I think Dr. Gulbahar is right. Media does play a large role. And like Dr. Anjali said, the more we keep talking about it, because we do get directors, we get actors at times, and you can keep sensitizing them at times, one can spend an extra 5, 10, 15 minutes to talk to them and discuss these things. But I think they themselves are so well read. And that's why movies like Dear Zindagi and other movies are coming forth now. And that is going, a lot of things have changed. I mean, people are no longer killing themselves. They're unwed mothers who are giving birth to babies. And, things change so much. But media is also a reflection of society. So it's difficult to say whether the media is changing society or society is changing, and that's why the media is changing. So definitely it does make a big impact. And I wouldn't mind seeing a short movie with starring you, Amrit.
Thank you so much. Dr. Gulbahar, can you quote a few good examples from the movies where mental health has been portrayed well? I think
I did talk of a few movies where mental health has been very well portrayed. And in fact, I came across this. I don't know how many people have seen this wonderful movie called Meri Biwi Ki Shadi. It's a beautiful movie on hypochondriasis. and I really enjoyed the movie. You know, I started out to get a few scenes, but then I ended up watching the whole movie. And there is another movie, of course, Dear Zindagi and Tare Zameen Par. Everyone is talking about it. But there are movies here which have done very, very well when it comes to mental health. And I mean, this is one movie which comes to my mind that should be shown to all undergrads and the postgraduate students.
I suggest you, if we keep on making this good movie bank sort of, so and we can post it on our IPS website if it is vetted and approved by the EC.
Yes.
So I think what you have tried is you have tried to recollect. I think if you are able to take this responsibility, gather on more people and collect this good movie things, good
Yes.
movie.
Sure. I think we could do it in two ways. You know, there are some there are some movies where the whole movie is good enough, is perfectly well portrayed mental health. There are some movies where there are isolated scenes which do so well, which portray mental health in the right perspective. I mean, we could divide the whole bank into two things, one movies and one some good scenes to just to show. This is how I see it.
Another interesting story was that PICU about hypochondriasis,
Yes,
somatization,
yes,
how
yes,
the
yes,
IBS
yes.
symptom. Whenever I see a patient, PICU, you get a lot of patients.
Yes.
It's a brilliant depiction of how people are so preoccupied with their bowel and all. It's a
Yes.
comical movie, but it's very well made actually.
Yes, yes, yes. And if we can broaden our range, there was a TV serial which came when I was a child, and that if everybody remembers the Chunauti, it was about college students, and it portrayed the drug addiction in just the perfect way. You know, the right message, never to say no to drugs, is beautifully conveyed in that serial. If somebody remembers having seen it.
Dr. Tufan sir, you want to add something about some of the movies you have loved? You are smiling and
No, I have seen many movies. I love many movies. But I would like that I shall give general comments. The whole business is a matter of cinematic storytelling, which has evolved with time. And admit or not, it is a commercial phenomenon. Start in the 1940s, film like Janmabhoomi, Roti, and Meri Behan, My Sister, or Subha Katara. Their mental illness was presented but in a distorted manner. All of us have seen movies in 80s where a psychiatrist is shown as a person with lights behind and he starts with a dialogue, तुम अपने पिछले जन्म में खो जाओ. So these distorted images are there. But of late, it has been changing quite rapidly, and cinematic storytelling has shifted from only film production to TVs, channels which show a number of serials, as Amrit was telling, and short films. All over India, at all the places, very good short films are being made. And someone commented about NGOs. I had gone to Kerala. Murli, T. Murli, he was here. I wanted to call him, but I don't find him now. He acted in a picture which got an award. And in Kerala, I have visited not less than 10 to 12 NGOs who work for the mental ill. And most of them have got this small production units. They do it. And so that is one aspect, but that does not complete the whole story. What was told by Indra just 10, 12 years ago, I was in that meeting and I actively participated where Ram Gopal Verma has come. He gave a clear mandate. We understand what we are depicting may be scientifically wrong, but we may indulge in it as long as we think that it gives us a commercial balance. The fact that we can have a blockbuster if you produce good movies like we are having now, like Tere Naam, Dear Zindagi, You, Me and Hum, they are very good movies. They reach out a kid purpose, but a director and a producer, it is their mentality, whether that at times people like to show mental illness as a contrast, ECT as a mode of torture. The protagonist having a bent of awkward bent of mind. or the antagonist having a very bizarre psychopathic character, and they want to highlight it, and they don't give solutions to that because their business is not related to finding solutions, which you are thinking. So what is the thing? We can have our own productions at personal level. How IPS can promote it, I think, in spite of having opening a production house, which involves a lot of complications, we can train most of our juniors and most of the psychiatrists to understand short filmmaking, which can be done in a low budget. And it is quite possible. People have produced movie with mobile camera. That is possible. A small script, a good director, and any actor. He need not be like Amrit or Alim. He can be anyone like anyone over here. That can be good movie. And there has to be message. And next comes the responsibility of marketing it, bringing it to the notice of the public. And if we can do it successfully, maybe people will, and we can spend some money to keep it, bring it higher in the TV, Google search engines or any search engines, then it will serve the purpose. But there will be directors like Ram Gopal Verma, there are today, and in also Netflix, every story is not well presented. There are many bad serials where mental health is adversely presented. This is the director's choice and the producer's choice. And very rarely we can influence them. As long as we influence them, it is good. If not, we can have search for them. And everybody has an idea. In his or her experience, everybody has an idea. Anyone can produce. That will cost less than a party. A good party we are having, that will cost less than that.
Sure, sir. Sir, can we invite Fabian for his comments? Fabian, how can we use movies constructively in our clinical work? You are doing something. I'd like to share it also.
Thank you, Alim. Thank you, Amrit. I'd just like to give a few comments. Movies are, and always will be a very powerful medium. I think in a lot of workshops that we use with children in schools, with teachers, even the dialogues and things like that resonate with them, and they can identify and they can apply what we talk through this. I remember taking a workshop for teachers and using the clip of Lagan, where Amir Khan teaches them how to bowl and the very initials of cricket, how to catch attention. And the code that I had for the teachers was to take the students from familiar to unfamiliar. So like Dr. Gulbahar said, it is beautiful to pick up pieces and use them for people to understand, or the entire movie as a whole. I had the good fortune of working with Mr. Mahesh Bhatt and Mohit Suri on the movie Wo Lamhe, which was based on Parveen Babi's schizophrenia. And although they took a lot of inputs and sat and we had a lot of discussions, they reflected the delusions very well. But unfortunately, under the label of creative liberties or license, they then do what they feel is best with certain things. And the psychiatrist then dims into the background. So this is where sometimes we can take our own initiatives. It is difficult to change or sensitize every director, every script writer. But I think we have enough talent in our community to prepare from our own stable things that can be worth watching. Psychiatrists United is an honest, humble, and hardworking effort of about 13 or more psychiatrists, of which we have been part of. And the film, that 5-minute film, was much appreciated. I think small efforts like this. In conclusion, my last appeal would be, I think if people can make films on harmful effects of tobacco and create such an impression in people's mind, why can't we put our resources together and have 3-minute short clips that can be shown when people come back to the movie theaters before every film? One on bipolar, maybe one on addiction, one on something else. It is the time to psycho-educate our people. And if 1 out of 6 are going to have problems of the mind, I think it fits the priority list to work on these 3-minute films and have them run before the main film that is there. We could think of this and we could take it forward. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts.
Can I have
very good idea, Fabian.
Can I have one last word from me?
Sure. You are the chairperson, sir.
Hey, all yours.
Sir,
No, I just want, Yeah. I just want to say two of our senior psychiatrists, when our people are discussing why can't IPS produce or something like that, two of our senior most psychiatrists of IPS have produced and won the national awards also. For example, one Dr. Ashok Pai of Shimoga in Karnataka. He was one of the earliest, about 30-40 years back. He produced at least 3-4 movies. One of them had the National Best Feature Film Award. That is a Kadina Benki. The name is Kadina Benki. That is, in English, it is Fire in the Forest. To my knowledge, it was based on something like voyeurism and some other sexual deviations or whatever it is. That is one of the earliest films in Canada that got the national award from the President of India. The other one is recently our Mohan Agashe Saab, who was a very senior psychiatrist and from the former director of the Pune Film and Television Institute. And two of his films, one was on dementia, I think many of us have seen, as very, very, very good. And another recently, the Kasau. It has got the National Best Feature Film Award recently, I think about 2-3 years back. Kasau, its name in Marathi. It was mainly on depression and attempting suicide. This is another film taken by our own psychiatrist. It is one produced by Mohan Agashe, and he is also one of the actors in that movie. So these are some examples done by our own IPS members, and it went to the extent of getting the national awards also. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Amrit, I think we have covered all the comments.
Yeah, we should. I think it's 9:30, and so I should give a formal thank you.
Any closing remarks from anyone? Amrit, you can proceed for the thanks now.
Thank you. So, Dr. Gulbahar sir, you are wonderful, but unfortunately, the audiovisual sometimes, you painstakingly built up a story, and I think somewhere the visual failed us. But then we'll call you back another time, sir. Maybe next time we'll hold a competition. The Thursday Music will hold a competition, 3-minute competition, and you have always been the forefront of making movies, being passionate about it, and that's why Alim and I decided, we thought that yes, why not, sir. Dr. Indla, he's an encyclopedia about what all happens in movies. I've seen his presentations. The narrative is built around movies, and he has a different way of speaking. The way he builds up the narratives, the stories he builds around, and he is just from another planet, I think. So thank you so much, sir. Rajeshri Didi.
Thank you, Amrit. Thank you.
Always energetic. She's in the forefront of the spirituality section, and she's good in movies, music, everything. So we were discussing whether we'll call it for this one or the music therapy, and finally we decided to call you here. Thank you so much for giving your inputs. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. We are sorry for the technical glitches, but maybe next time when we call Dr. Gulbahar, it will be much. We will prepare beforehand and take care of any technical issues. So we apologize for whatever sir could not give his best. Thank you, everybody. Next time we'll have another brilliant show. Hope to see you. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you and good night.
Good night. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you, sir.
The technical glitches were the big hindrance, but it won't be there. We'll have another